So in the early 1980s, a massive health issue broke on the news involving something called toxic shock syndrome, or TSS. TSS resulted from bacteria releasing a bunch of toxins linked to the use of synthetic menstrual products. So between 1979 and 1996, there were 5,000 cases of TSS reported. Most of the reports related to a tampon no longer on the market. Now, since 1976, tampons had been considered by law to be a medical instrument. But unlike other medical instruments, tampons and menstrual products had no real regulations. And the TSS outbreak really exposed this lack of regulation, okay? So the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, they got involved to ensure the safety of tampons and that they were ingredients, were properly labeled and they were safe. But awareness about TSS and the environmental concerns about tampon waste pushed consumer groups in the 1980s to find out more. And they did. Investigators found out that there was something in tampons called dioxin. Now, dioxin is super toxic and can cause reproductive issues, damage the immune system, and cause cancer. Well, shit. How did something that dangerous get in there in the first place? Deep inside of you. In there. Well, dioxin is created when wood pulp is turned into a synthetic fiber called rayon. Oh, rayon is in all of our clothes. Oh, we are so fucked. And tampons are also made of a combination of cotton and rayon. So up until the late 1990s, high levels of dioxin were found in tampons. But then the FDA was like, hey, we should probably stop doing that. So they changed the process to get rid of the dioxin. But here's the thing, dioxin is actually still found in tampons because that shit is everywhere. Manufacturers can't completely get rid of it. And even though the FDA requires tampon makers to monitor how much dioxin is in their products, the results are not made available to the public. So we just have to trust them that they're being honest. Cool. Because they've never lied to us, have they? But thankfully, there are advocates out there. Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney has been vocal about this issue since 1997. Now, she has put forward legislation to require manufacturers to be more transparent about what really goes into tampons, pad, and menstrual products 9 freaking times. Most recently, a bill was introduced in 2019, but it still hasn't even passed. Baby girl Lisa, we've had periods forever, right? And we're in 2019 and still, what are we doing? What are we doing? I say let's go back to the freaking toads. I'm still on that, okay? And she isn't even asking for anything crazy. She just wants companies to tell the public what materials they use and whatever contaminants, fragrances, dyes, preservatives there are in these items that are going in our bodies. The federal government can't get their shit together to pass legislation, or maybe there's just no incentive to pass the legislation because they don't give a fuck. Maybe that's because only 27% of Congress is female, and that's an all-time high. However, New York and California have passed legislation requiring companies to disclose all ingredients in menstrual products. The 48 other states, they're just sleeping or something. They're busy. They're real busy. Okay, so you figured chemicals in the thing you put inside you to help you on your period would be bad enough. But come on, there's always more. Almost half of the world menstruates every month, and yet even in the United States, horrible stigmas still push girls to feel uncomfortable talking about it. This stigma makes people treat menstruation like a dirty little secret. Women feel like they can't talk about it and therefore can't ask for help when they need it or have questions, stuff like that. And this has led to something called period poverty. Period poverty happens when women can't afford menstrual products. Look, if you're not buying the menstrual products, you're not aware of how expensive it can be. And this is a painful reality for millions of women across the globe that has very real consequences. For example, a survey sponsored by the menstrual product brand Always found that in the United States, 1 in 5 girls miss school because of period poverty. Also in the United States, tampons and pads cannot be purchased with public assistance like food stamps. which makes no freaking sense. And even though federal law considered them medical devices, they are not covered by health insurance or Medicaid. It makes no sense. Make it make sense. And we see similar stats all over the world. In Kenya, 65% of women say pads are just too pricey. Some Kenyan women report that they have to trade sex to get menstrual products. And it's a fact that period poverty disproportionately impacts low-income communities. Almost 13% of women and girls in the world struggle to access resources to help with menstrual management. So what hope is there? Assistance can come in the form of getting rid of taxes on these products, known as the tampon tax. Yes, tampons have their own special tax. Do we ever catch a break? Why are we being punished? But getting rid of it would make them more accessible to the people who need them. In 2018, Scotland became the first country in the world to make menstrual products free to students in low-income families. Yeah. We like that. England started doing the same thing in 2020. And countries like India, Australia, Canada, Ireland, Jamaica, Nicaragua, South Africa, Nigeria, Lebanon, Malaysia, Colombia, and a whole bunch of others have gotten rid of taxes for menstrual products. What about the United States? As of 2021, 30 states still have a tampon tax, because they hate us. But thankfully, dedicated organizations like Period Equity, a national advocacy group, are working really, really hard to change that. And we applaud them. So women have been told for literally thousands of years that we're dirty, we're bleeders. Well, you know what? And also that we're wizards. Wizard! Love that. Like, give me a break though. It's exhausting. And then on top of that, we get taxed more for it and we get treated like it's something that we signed up for. It's very bizarre, isn't it? Like, I don't know why it makes people so angry that the thought that maybe we can get these items for free. We didn't choose to bleed, god damn it. None of us signed up for this. And if we all could get off this train, we would. Okay? Why are we being harassed for bleeding? But societies have worked weirdly hard for centuries to convince us that our natural bodies are impure or unclean. And they're not. I'm sorry, but they're not. Whether it's ancient mythology, religious practices, governments regulating female bodies, or just plain old batshit crazy theories, it all comes down to one thing: suppressing the natural power of women through shame and embarrassment. So unsurprisingly, that has damaged the psyche of millions of women all over the world. And then they go off and make millions of dollars off that shame. In today's society, blood is everywhere. Sports, TV, movies. Did you watch Squid Games? That was fucked up, right? So gory. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they came out with a new one. Did you see that? Girl, so much blood, okay? And if a man gets a severe cut or like wound, we just like don't think it's gross or weird. We don't tell him to hide it because it's unmanly or unhygienic or maybe unpure. We rush and like help them. Yet when it comes to menstrual blood, it's weird to even talk about it. And honestly, if you like bleed through your pants or something, it's so fucking embarrassing, right? And it shouldn't be, but it is. We are your sisters, your mothers, your aunts, your grandmothers. So let's all be better. Let's talk about it. If you have your period, feel no shame. Share your story, share your knowledge, and help someone out.